their centuries-old heritage of indigenous seeds. This will be irreversible damage to mankind as a whole. Seeds developed over millennia will be gone forever.
If you look at the way that GM technology is being implemented in India, never mind for a moment, let us say it is safe or not safe, let's keep that aside. How is it being implemented? Is it being implemented in a way that even our own regulations prescribe? The answer is no. The industry does whatever it wants. Let me give you an example from Jharkhand. Gene Campaign has been working in Jharkhand for a number of years. Jharkhand, along with Odisha and parts of Chhattisgarh, is very rich in genetic diversity of rice. And this is a very special area where GM trials of rice should not be done. That's the first question. But Mahiko Seed Company has been given permission to test genetically engineered rice in Jharkhand, which is the birthplace of rice, which is where the maximum genetic diversity of rice is found. Of course, Odisha is very rich, and so are parts of Chhattisgarh. They are given permission, which they never should have been, to test GM rice in this area, and then they do it as carelessly as possible. The trial site is not isolated, there is no containment measure, that means there's no fencing, there is no netting, it's right in the middle of farmers' fields. In fact, it is in a way that farmers walk across that field to go to their other fields on the other side. So they have been as careless as it is possible to be. Then, when they harvested the rice, they did not do it according to the prescribed form. Now, the prescribed form according to regulation is that after you finish a field trial, you must burn that field completely, because all the trial material, the GM trial material, must be destroyed. So you have to burn everything after the harvest. Now, Mahiko Seed Company does not bother to do any of that. It's harvested, the field is not burnt, and obviously contamination starts from there. Because the second generation of rice that has come up is genetically engineered rice, and it is there as a source of contamination in the middle of the birthplace of rice. This is such a horribly serious thing. We collected samples from there, we sent it to Germany for testing, and of course the results came back saying yes, this rice that had come up on its own after the trial was in fact genetically engineered rice. So that means this process of contamination has started. And the terrible thing is that this contamination is happening in the birthplace of rice. The story doesn't stop here. We filed a complaint with the government, and we have sent it to the officials concerned of the GAC. Do you know what the response of the GAC was? To write me a threatening letter saying where did you get the material and who gave you permission to enter the trial site. Instead of making an inquiry against the Mahiko company to ask them how this was possible, they are defending the company and trying to threaten us. So you see the way that even according to our own regulatory laws and regulations, the companies don't bother to follow even that. And I think that one of the worst companies, because it is a Monsanto partner, is Mahiko Seed Company. And I regret to say that the government seems to be working overtime to protect this company, which is a Monsanto partner, than trying to find out where they have gone wrong. Now, if the government is going to protect and cover up for violations, then we are in a very, very difficult situation indeed.
The Mahiko-Monsanto cartel always claims that they are working for the good of the farmers, mankind, and the environment in developing these transgenic crops like BT brinjal. There is the assumption that the transgenic crop produces more and costs less to cultivate and will bring more profit to the farmer. It has proven otherwise in the case of BT cotton, when the failure of cotton crop led to the suicide of thousands of cotton farmers in India. There are also numerous other organic pest management systems available. So where is the need to create a risky transgenic crop for this purpose? To create an impression in the mind of the general public, they are showcasing crops like the golden rice and purple tomato, which will solve the hunger, malnutrition, and poverty of the world. But these claims have no basis in reality.
Corporations say that genetically modified food is the greatest thing, if I may, since sliced bread.
Right. I'm not saying that there couldn't be benefits from genetic modification. What I'm saying is there's a tremendous rush, again, just based on all-out greed, to get these things to market, to recoup their scientific investments in them. The problem with biotechnology and genetic modification is they're forcing this technology on problems that don't need technological solutions. Starvation is a great one. We hear that genetically modified crops are going to cure starvation on the planet. The real answer to curing starvation is reducing poverty, increasing infrastructure, and straightening out politics. So starvation is a great example. They're the ones that brought it up, not me. But they should be ashamed for bringing it up.
Because we have enough food, right?
There's 1.5 times the amount of food on the planet today that we need.
Golden rice is supposed to be the answer to vitamin A deficiency and is the answer to childhood blindness. But to meet the daily required dose, you have to eat 9 kilograms of cooked rice, whereas a ripe gak fruit or spiny gourd contains 20 times the daily requirement. A slice of ripe mango or a piece of carrot also meets the requirement.
It is ridiculous that GM is so much introduced and it has gone into in the introduction of golden rice also. 9 kilogram of golden rice is equal to 1 spoon of non-refined palm oil or 1 piece of carrot. Whether it is required at all and become unhealthy by eating 9 kilogram of golden rice instead of eating 1 piece of carrot or 1 spoon of palm oil.
The purple tomato is engineered to contain anthocyanin, which is a powerful antioxidant. Anthocyanin prevents dreaded diseases like cancer and confers long and healthy life. But there is no dearth of vegetables and fruits which contain anthocyanin. Some of this are beetroot, blueberries, jamun, sem or hyacinth bean, or any fruit and vegetable or fruit whose color is red, blue, purple, or black. So what is the necessity to engineer tomato to contain anthocyanin and replace most of its lycopene, which is also a powerful antioxidant? To this date, no transgenic crop has been produced that needs less irrigation, less fertilizer, and produces more. On the contrary, it was found that some Roundup Ready soybean has lower yield than the soybean that has not been genetically modified. So this is not about the good of mankind. Rather, it is for their own profit. It is because genetically modifying a crop gives them patent rights. And if they have patent over plants and animals, it gives them control over the food supply and the food chain of the world.
So there is a scramble all over the world to draw control over the genetic resources. So that is why the intellectual property regime. IPR passes on the control over the genetic resources into the hands of the rich countries, which are basically the gene countries. So what will happen in the days to come is that the control over our varieties, control of plant species actually passes into the hands of the corporates. So there will be few companies, few corporates all over the world will be controlling the entire genetic diversity that the world has. And that is meaning, or that would mean that the poor farmers or even as a nation, we would lose control over what actually grows in our own backyards. Now let me give you one example. Rice is a crop which is grown in Asia. 97% of rice is grown in Asia. The rice genome, which means the genetic makeup of rice, has been mapped first by Monsanto and now by Syngenta. Syngenta has mapped about 98% of the entire rice genome. Rice has about 35,000 genes. Now, Syngenta is also filing for bulk patents on 30,000 genes out of the total genes that rice has. which means rice is a plant which grows in your backyard or in my backyard, but the control of rice goes into the hands of Syngenta company. Syngenta will decide what will they do or what the world should do with the rice. It's a plant that actually we have been living with it for ages, and now goes into the hands of Syngenta, which is based in Switzerland.
So what can you do in this grim situation which threatens your well-being and the health of your family? As BT brinjal and other transgenic crops are phenotypically similar to their counterpart, that is, the look similar to outward appearance, so there is no way to differentiate